Hey, what's going on everybody? In today's video, I'm answering a question that I get a lot when I tell people that I've lost 60 pounds with intermittent fasting, and that is, do you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight with intermittent fasting? Or is the fasting enough to help you lose the weight without being in a deficit? So the short answer to that is you do have to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. It doesn't matter what kind of diet or nutrition plan you're following. At the end of the day, you do need to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. But I think the reason that people ask that question, and one of the things that they want to know, is whenever you're looking to lose weight and change your diet and nutrition, we have this mental block, this thing that we think is going to be tough. If we follow a new nutrition or diet plan, we want to follow the one that's going to be easiest for us, because if it's tough, we know we're not going to stick with it and lose the weight. So when people ask if you have to be in a deficit with fasting, it's because when you think about intermittent fasting and going 16, 18, 20 hours without food, mentally that in and of itself is tough. And if you stack a deficit on top of that, it's something that you think is out of the question. So people want to know if they can lose weight without being in a deficit. And the short answer is no, you can't. You do have to be in a deficit. But here's the good news. What I have found with intermittent fasting is that I can hit my calorie deficit and still enjoy the food that I'm eating and eat a significant amount of food and not feel like I'm always hungry. One of the things that I have done to be successful with intermittent fasting, again, I have lost the weight and I'm maintaining the weight loss for over a year now. And one of the things that I do differently is I look at my calorie deficit over the course of a week. It's too much for me to try to hit a calorie deficit every single day, and it's the stress that I put on myself to hit a daily calorie deficit is one of the reasons that other diets have failed for me in the past. I have done If It Fits Your Macros before, I've done Weight Watchers, I've done low carb, and in all of those diets, the way that I approached them was I tried to hit my goals every day. One of the things that I have done differently with intermittent fasting is I still have to be in a deficit, but I look at that deficit over the course of a week. So what that may look like for me, or what it generally tends to look like, is I will have 3 days out of the week where I'm eating in a calorie deficit. So for me, that's probably anywhere in that 22 to 2400 calories a day puts me in a slight deficit. So I'll have 3 days where I eat at my deficit. Because I'm doing intermittent fasting and fasting between 16 and 20 hours a day, I'm able to get in those 22 to 2400 calories over a short period of time, so that my meals are bigger and I feel full. And so that's about 3 days out of the week. The other 4 days is split half and half. I'll have 2 days where I eat in an extreme deficit. So I'm talking anywhere between 1500 to 2000 calories. And then I will have days where I eat at about 3000 calories. But everything balances out. So over the course of a week, I'm hitting my calorie deficit. And that has helped me so much. One, to not stress about whether or not I'm hitting my calorie deficit every day, but also it allows me to enjoy my food. Because at the end of the day, the thing that you're going to have the most success with is the thing that you can stick to long term. So yes, you do need to be in a calorie deficit when doing intermittent fasting in order to lose weight. But because there's so much flexibility built into intermittent fasting, you can change it up and do what works for you. So for some people, what that may look like is you enjoy having structure and eating the same things day in and day out. So if that's you, you just have to find what your calorie deficit is, and then all you have to do is stick to a similar fasting schedule. So if you can fit in, say you're going for 2000 calories, and you find that you like eating 2 meals and a snack and doing a 16-8 fast, you can do that every single day. But if you like a little more variety, you can do something similar to me, which is I change my fasting times based off of how much I feel like eating and the things that I want to eat. One of the things that I'm notorious for is I do 1 meal a day on Fridays, because Friday nights around our house are pizza night, which means we are gonna eat pizza with the girls. I don't necessarily get the healthiest kind of pizza, because pizza, let's face it, isn't there's going to be a lot of carbs, a lot of fat, it's going to be filling, and I can't just eat 2 or 3 slices. I'm gonna eat at least a half a pizza. So what I do in order to fit that in and still be in a deficit is I do 1 meal a day on Friday, and I'll have 2,200 calories of pizza. Once you get into fasting and you've been doing it for over a month, if you're concerned about the hunger and things like that, yes, there is a transition period when you first get into fasting, but that kind of goes away after you've been intermittent fasting for a month. So it's much easier to be in a deficit and fasting for me because I can eat those bigger meals and feel full. So if you're wondering how many calories you need to be in a deficit, I actually made a video on that and you can watch it here. My recommendation is that you find what works for you individually. It takes a little longer to find your calorie deficit, but we're not looking for the fast weight loss. We're looking for sustainable weight loss. So if you're interested in that, I'm gonna leave that video on the screen here now. Be sure to check that out. And remember, we're not looking to lose weight fast, we're looking to lose weight forever. Progress over perfection. Thanks again, and I will catch you in the next video.